Welcome to the Optional Boss Podcast, where we took a small little hiatus once again, almost back to back. But some interesting things. Tyler is out of the closet and now in the basement. He has a better room, so he doesn't need ice packs.
Do you hear that sound? No, you don't, but I'm stretching my arms out in their entirety and I'm not hitting walls.
Do you still need glow sticks to read your notes?
No, I actually have this really nice USB ring light set up. It's nice and cool down here. There's no more need for ice packs.
The ring light's fancy.
The ring light's nice. Yeah, no, I got a nice big dual monitor setup. This is a legitimate office now. It's swell. So, there's a little construction being done behind the scenes, and you know how they are at the end of fall. They always cram in as much construction as they got, and you gotta wait a little longer. That's what happens, folks.
So we were in a bit of a conundrum. Granted, we aren't terribly active on Twitter and stuff. Mainly because I just don't want to post things that are just nonsense, and I feel like a lot of people do post nonsense.
Twitter illiterate.
Maybe.
Yep. I don't get it either.
And I was kind of in a weird spot. I didn't know if I should try doing a solo episode. It was more of a time thing. So we do have jobs outside of just doing this podcast, obviously, and we couldn't fit time in properly.
Life happens,
shouldn't run into that issue too often. But shit happens. We apologize. And
we're back.
We're just delaying the episode that we've been slowly hyping since episode 1, which is going to be the next episode. Stay tuned and you'll find out, I'm sure.
Yeah, listen to the podcast. Stay a while.
Maybe, okay. So, before we get into, this is already rambly. Tyler, have you gone back and listened to, any of the first 10 episodes?
Oh, jeez. When was the last time I listened to episode 1 to 4 specifically, because they were the ones pre-closet, and now we are post-closet. Wow. It's amazing how time flies. You might say it's quite the achievement. So, I want to say it was probably around episode 30 or so, or maybe when we first cracked 1,000 listens. Again, thank you, but, ooh.
Absolutely.
It hurts.
I hate knowing the fact. I've gone and listened to that first episode a couple times just to. I like to see progress with where we've come from, where we started, and where we are now. And we have. I personally find a much more concise. We don't sound like we're reading from a script because we aren't. But you could tell that we didn't know what we were doing in those first handful of episodes. So I hate the fact that any newcomers, unless they're listening to the last episode, they're listening to one of the first episodes. And something that we've kind of toyed with idea wise and would love some feedback is if we revisited and almost did a remaster of those episodes.
Remake, remaster, or port?
Fresh. Yes. It would be a brand new discussion just on that same topic, and maybe 50 episodes in isn't quite ideal for that kind of thing, but based on our growth, it is also 3 years of doing this.
Wild.
2 going on 3.
Yeah, we are in the 3rd year, starting off strong, a little late.
So I don't know, reach out to us, let us know what you want, what you feel about that. I feel like we could do a lot better than what we actually have. If anyone is starting on those first episodes, I cringe at them nowadays easily.
It's all about the journey.
Who's listened to us for a while probably could as well.
It's all about the journey.
But it's part of that progress. Tyler's probably going to sound better than me now.
Maybe. We'll have to find out. I don't know. It's several factors in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that said, before we actually dive into our topic at hand, as always, we are going to discuss some things amongst ourselves. That was a little shop talk, I guess you could call. So let's do a little rambly bit. Tyler, what have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Quite a bit, actually. I want to say when we last checked in, I was still playing through Visions of Mana, and I have beaten at least the main portion of the game and gotten the proper ending. Well, I don't know what the ending's like as post-game, but, I rolled credits. I got to the end of it. It was okay. Which is kind of disappointing to say with, obviously my professed fondness for the Mana series, but I'm not disappointed because
absolutely.
I kind of just expected it to be okay. And the gameplay was great. And from what you've said, the gameplay only gets better in the post-game, so I will go back to it at some point.
I found it much more enjoyable and a little more difficult unless you grind it. It did get a little more difficult.
I do
more enjoyable.
I do think it could have used a bit more difficult.
I think it's plot wise, like minigames aren't known for their plot. Let's be honest. But this one, it's. How would you describe the graphics? Because they aren't chibi, but they're very cartoony. It is very colorful. The series has always been very colorful. But there's never like a sense. It's very much the same kind of problem that Pokemon has. Like nothing dire is happening, but it is quote unquote happening. It's just you don't feel those world effects. And for as big as Visions of Mana is, its plot was a little heavy for all the wrong reasons.
I don't even think it. So I don't want to say the plot was too heavy. I think the plot itself is fine. If you look at it for the black and white story
when I say heavy, I mean there was a lot of it.
Well, okay. In that case, yeah. So my issue with it is it is a very straightforward. I'm not going to describe the story, but to just give a kind of example or metaphor, it is your classic save the princess, save the world story. Very by the numbers, right? The only problem I had is that it takes its very simple story very seriously and gives you a lot of it when there's really not a lot there. And it kind of
takes it seriously, but no urgency to it.
It bogs down the pacing a little bit. I don't know. The pacing wasn't too bad. I just think the plot itself was not my highlight of it. That's for sure.
No.
That said, though, oh my god, what a pretty game! There are so many times that I just kind of just looked off into the distance and panned the camera around, and wow, and it was fun. I think I'm going to save more of my thoughts on Visions for possibly if we can manage to bring an old friend of the show back and have a nice long chat about that. Maybe just look back at the Mana series as a whole, because maybe we'll talk about those weird offside games. Who knows? But it was good.
I will have to dive into those.
I liked it.
If that is the case.
Yeah. Now, since I have finished, I've been dipping into a couple things. Oh, I also polished off Rogue Legacy 2. Not a whole lot for me to say about that, other than it's a great action platformer roguelike. If you played and liked the first one, you're gonna like the second one even more. It was
more of the same, just enhanced.
More of the same, just enhanced. A little bit beefier, but it had some quality of life to it, and it was a good time. Now,
which is more or less what you need in a second one. Honestly,
now having played that, I've kind of got an itch for a little bit more of a structured Metroidvania, because it kind of takes the Dead Cells approach, where it's semi-randomized, but semi. You know where you need to go, so it's not going to completely mess with you. It's done very well. Right. But I want something that is solid and well designed. And you know what? It's been, 2 years now? And I could probably go for a replay of Metroid Dread in my not too distant future. That would be a good time.
I've thought about that, actually. And I'd like to say I'll wait till the next Metroid game gets announced, but who knows when that might be.
That could be any day. It could be a long ways away. But I didn't start anything like that. I did pop into the BioShock collection. Had an itch to play some BioShock 1. It's alright. Hop back into it.
It's always a good time.
It was a pretty alright time. But my main focus lately has actually been finally getting around to actually trying to play Earthbound.
So, speaking of that, let's there's a little elephant in the room.
Whatever do you mean?
So beginning of the year, we gave each other games that we should complete before the end of the year. To my understanding,
don't you remember you told me I should play Earthbound, and that's why I'm playing Earthbound now.
So neither of us have actually touched the games, nor have we actually done an episode on the original challenge, which was Tyler to check out Omori, and I was to check out Final Fantasy 3 or 5, if I'm correct. And I did 3, and I really need to play 4, but it's RPG. It just hasn't been up my wheelhouse, right?
You gotta make time for them.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll extend the challenge a little.
We can make retcons. It's fine. It's our own challenge.
I think Earthbound was one of those games that I thought about getting you to try though.
Mm-hmm. No,
and,
it is.
It's
been a long time. You know, I've been told several times by you. You know, you did Mother 3 and you enjoyed it. You know, you should probably give Earthbound a fair shake. And I was like, nah, fuck that game. I don't like it.
Mother 3 is better.
Mother 3 is better. Yes. But if it's all worth it just for the fact that we can put Earthbound music in this episode now. But
yes, absolutely.
I don't know. I want to say if I'm not halfway through it, I'm well halfway through. I'm significantly farther than I've ever gotten. And if I had to say anything about my thoughts on Earthbound, what I think about it, it's not knocking my socks off, you know. But in the most praising way I can put it, it is an incredibly digestible game. It's got so much Nintendo coding to it that even though it is a very straightforward, like, turn-based RPG to the most classic sense, that it's like something like Dragon Quest. But it's also just got that, but it's for everyone. You know?
It has its wacky moments.
It does have its wacky moments.
It's weird.
It is weird, but it's also one of those things that I genuinely, for how far I am, could probably recommend this to anyone who is not really savvy in turn-based RPGs whatsoever. And I think
maybe why I love it.
It's just enough challenge, but it's not, you know, it's not going to baby you, it's not going to beat the shit out of you, but it will give you a challenge here and there, and it's nice, and it's quirky. The music is just so strange, but so good, and yeah, no, I'll probably give some more thoughts on that, but yeah, I'm finally tackling Earthbound, and not saying I hate this game. But enough about me.
Which is what you used to do.
It is what I used to do. It's the secret of mana syndrome. So it's the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
Where I'm finally taking the time to do it, and I am enjoying it, and it's been, well, if one thing will get me through, it's the soundtrack. And it's my gateway into it, and then the rest kind of helped itself. So
yeah, it starts holding its own.
Yeah, but that's I've probably done a little more, but what have you done?
Not much, to be honest. I mean, Silent Hill 2 remake came out, and I played that.
And then you played
I've watched
it again.
a buddy play it. I have played it again. I've beat it 6-7 times now, and I worked my way through getting the Platinum Trophy. And I will fully admit, like, in New Game Plus, the minute that you can get a chainsaw, which is only in New Game Plus, you just run around and slaughter everything. Just nothing stops you.
Yeah, that's the joys of New Game Plus. Wants to give you a power trip now. You've suffered enough.
Yep. Yeah. No. When I actually got my platinum, that run took me 2 hours and 57 minutes.
Jeez.
So I made it under the 3-hour mark.
As opposed to, like, a first playthrough being, like, what? 15,
my first
20?
playthrough was, like, 26.
Yeah. Wow.
So, quite the stark contrast. Even my second playthrough was, like, just over 10.
So, here's my question. So, now that you have absolutely driven Silent Hill 2 into the ground,
yes.
Would you say that this is a replacement for the original Silent Hill 2, or would you say it is almost like a Resident Evil 2 remake situation where they're both different enough and have their own merits that they can still be enjoyed themselves?
They both have their own merits, and they both do things better than the other one. I've seen a lot of people talk that this replaces the original. No, it doesn't. But they did a damn good job. Like, it turned out a lot better than I thought it would.
Honestly, I think that's a pretty good takeaway for that's I think a remake doing a good job as a remake. You know, I would say the same thing about even like the Trials remake. Now, that's a little bit more different, but at the same time,
yes.
I like it when I have a new enjoyable product, but I can still appreciate the old one for what it was.
So, I was actually tempted to go back to the original after I platinumed the remake, but I just needed to move on with my life because that was a month.
Go to a different town.
Did nothing but yeah, go to a different town.
Yeah,
I'm done with the fog. I've seen that town.
maybe now that you've been through Silent Hill, you should enter the streets of Rogue.
So, if I did Streets of Rogue, I'd probably want to bug you for some multi. To be honest.
Fair point.
Because I have beat Streets of Rogue. So, quite a few times actually. So it's one of those, like, I'm in no rush for it. Especially since I got a couple things, like my backlog is piling up with things I'm actually really excited for. It's not just stuff I want to get to.
Yeah.
Which is always a neat feeling. But then at the same time, it's like I don't have enough time to do this kind of stuff because I want to still have a life.
Yeah.
And I have my real world responsibilities and everything. So after I beat Silent Hill 2, and I was watching a buddy play it, who's never experienced Silent Hill before, and he's actually doing a second playthrough now. And I think he's going to try and platinum it as well. But he absolutely loved it, and he was very, very surprised by the twist that it had, and which honestly is kind of funny because I've talked to him about this game because he's a diehard Resident Evil fan. And I had to bring that up because the two series are always compared. Two very different beasts, Silent Hill and Resident Evil.
I think it's due to their times.
They're compared all the time. Yeah. I mean, the original Silent Hill was a Konami's response to Capcom's Resident Evil. And the whole story behind it, in a nutshell, Konami wasn't pleased with what they were doing, but the team just kept doing it anyways. And then Konami heads just left them alone to do whatever, and then they came out with Silent Hill. And it's like, oh, this is actually pretty good, okay.
This is why you always want to let people be creative. You get good products out of it.
Yeah, but it's just a team of people that didn't want to work with anyone else. And they just kind of did their own thing. And to the point where they did get their budget cut. They just kind of were left alone because they couldn't get their way. And they came out with the Silent Hill series. But anyways, I could talk more on Silent Hill 2. I'm not going to. Till possibly later. But what I have dove into is my physical for the Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3 remaster game.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I've been playing through Tomb Raider 1. And I'm only on like the 5th or 6th level, and I think there's 14 in the first one, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And it's a good time. I was doing the tank controls, and then I realized that I had modern controls, and yes, I could do tank controls, no problem. But if I can do modern for like platforming and stuff, I'm going to do modern. Simple as that.
I just think that makes
nice
sense.
I can actually turn.
Yeah, no,
I can just turn. It still has like a clunkiness to it.
But I feel like the tank
which is
controls, maybe it's just because we were around for these things, but they would feel much more comfortable with the proper controllers.
Well, that's the thing. Being PlayStation, it's a very similar controller. I'm using the Switch Pro controller because I got it on the Switch.
Yeah,
but it's very similar to what you'd have on the PlayStation. Like if I got it for PlayStation, it's essentially the same controller.
I suppose that's true.
now. So I'm going to say something, and I hope anyone listening, if you grew up with these retro games, you're going to know exactly what I mean when I say this. So I've been having a lot of fun with Tomb Raider 1. It is very neat because you can hit the start button and it'll switch between graphic modes. So like the remaster graphics versus the original PS1 graphics. And the best way that I can say that they've done with this remaster is it now looks like what you thought it looked like back in the day.
Kind of like what they did with Metroid Prime.
Kind of. It's a much bigger overhaul, I'd say that. But like back in the day, it's you look at it now and it's like, oh, that's nothing like I remembered. Back when we were saying, oh, graphics are never going to get better than this, right?
Yeah.
And it's very much that kind of like mentality. Like you switch to the remaster graphics and it's like, this is what I thought it used to look like. But then when you revert back to the original, it's like, yeah, no, that's okay. Yep. But it's just something about like the nostalgia in your mind. It's like, especially at the time when graphics weren't like 3D was just getting introduced, and it was like spectacular. Graphics are never going to get this any better. This is so realistic. And then to come out with this remaster 20 years later or whatever, it's like, this is what I thought it used to look like back in the day.
I want to say my first example of that, like, wow, like we've come so far with graphics, was a game called Fighting Force. And I'm gonna... Maybe I'll just send a picture of the box there because... Oh, no. I'll take the character select screen. This will be good. I'm gonna send you a picture of the character select screen and show you my... wow, it doesn't get any better than this moment. Folks at home, if you want to look up Fighting Force, it's a hilarious 3D beat-em-up. So yeah, this was my... Oh my god, look at the detail. We'll never get more realistic than this.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's a bunch of squares right there.
That is some Lego bricks.
Yep.
So yeah, granted, I haven't touched 2 or 3 because I'm going to do them in order. Yeah. But it's a very good remaster. It's a remaster bordering on authentic remake, if you will.
I think that's a fair way to put it.
So and you know what? Games that do that is I love it when games do that. Diablo 2 Remastered did it too, where you could switch between old and new graphics.
I like it when classics give the option of modernization. You know, it's one of those things where we're like, so I think my best example of this is actually the Turok ports / remakes, remasters.
Yep.
Whatever they want to go for, where they're still a lot of fun. They're probably a blast with an N64 controller, but being able to play them with like a modern twin stick shooter setup, ooh.
Yeah, huge difference.
Like, just smooth as butter. So, yeah.
So one thing I will say is, like, when you're in tank controls, I found it much easier to jump around to avoid enemies. So, like, doing side flips and whatnot, where with the twin stick kind of controls, a lot harder to do a flip to the side, which is kind of interesting. So it's
weird.
Pick your poison kind of scenario.
Yeah.
I'm going twin stick. So, yeah. Aside from that, I haven't really dove into anything. I got Alan Wake 2 to check out. I got the physical for that because that came out. I still have Pepper Grinder I want to get to. I got stuff on the Doing Soft collection I want to check out because I got that. I haven't touched Rogue Legacy. I did do Animal Well. I don't remember if I talked about Animal Well before or not.
I think briefly.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It's good. Check it out.
That's one I was looking at, but this is the last one I'll throw in for today. But I actually just a couple hours before we started recording, I started the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, or as I like to call it. I got that today, and just because their box art and title screen is just DRDR, I know it as Dur. So, man, I'm only like maybe 2 hours into it, not even, and it's such a stressful game. It's so good though, because it's as stressful as you want it to be, because the big thing is time management. Like, you got 72 hours in the mall, and it's constantly like, you could go save people here, you go save people here, this is happening, and you have to use your time wisely. Meanwhile, I'm just going into stores, just trying to find some new outfits and some cool stuff. And the best part is because these are like classic horror movie zombies where, like, they're not fast, they're not really all that aggressive, they're just slow, shambling corpses. But I mean, if you're not paying attention, they'll get you. And literally, that has been the whole experience for me. For like, I'm standing there fucking around, like, trying to take a picture of something or doing something stupid, and then I get attacked. I'm like, god damn it! Like, it's not even scary. It's just they're like ants.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
It's like fire ants because these ones bite.
So I'm not going to speak to that one too much. I've been wanting to play Dead Rising, and then they remastered it. Like, sweet, perfect time to do it. So
yeah, I mean, might as well.
And
now, is it the first one or the second one?
The first one, arguably the better one.
Okay.
Yeah, and in my short time with it, I've already managed to get a couple of achievements, which is my way of saying, should we talk about achievements?
Yes. So today's episode, we are going to be talking about achievements, trophies, gamer score. If Nintendo had one, it would probably be called Nintendo Power. And completionists. So let's get into the topic at hand right after this. So it's a weird kind of like phenomenon that's happened, I'm going to say since maybe the OG Xbox, a little bit on Steam, but where completionists and trophy hunters or achievement hunters, if you will, there's so many names where just achievements is what we're mostly going to be referring to just compass everything. They showed up in games, and it's kind of weird because, like, you used to be given like prizes for this. Like, I remember in GoldenEye, you did certain things and you get like cheats that you can unlock for like big head mode and license to kill and all this kind of stuff. Now we get like little fake little badges or trophies that we can kind of like use as bragging rights, I guess.
I'm pretty sure it's just bragging rights, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Trackable bragging rights.
Trackable bragging rights. And it's kind of weird because for the longest time, I did care, but then I didn't care, and then I kind of care again, but also don't. And I find that there's a lot of criteria I actually give myself before I'm willing to actually do a completionist run or try and get all the achievements or trophies or whatever. And that's one thing that it was actually Tyler when he got me into actually playing on consoles again, because that is all on Tyler.
Yep.
Starting with the Switch, and then actually physically collecting, because I was always I said this before, I was always a PC player, mostly first-person shooters. Didn't really achievement hunt. I did get like 100% on Fallout 4.
Oh, God.
And then they added DLC. And with the way that Steam does their achievements is because they added DLC with new achievements, it removed my 100% completionist achievement rate. So that was kind of a downer. And Tyler, it was you who said that you love Nintendo because they don't have achievements.
Honestly,
it kind of ruins the game.
I'm kind of a big fan of that philosophy. And okay, before we, point to that specifically, I'm not about to say that like I think achievements are bad. I actually think achievements are quite neat. But
yes, and also this draws like a huge like weird comparison.
I think it's because they've been around for as long as they have. Now, so my first kind of encounter with actual on-system based-by-account achievements was with the Xbox 360. And I want to say it was with BioShock, of all things. Because, I mean, BioShock was a pretty early 360 title. I don't think I really messed with the original Xbox all that much. So, and I thought it was actually really cool, especially when in the days of Xbox 360, I felt like the gamer score almost like it meant a little more. It hit a little harder. And a big part of that was you could, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was if you acquired so much gamer score or if they were just attached to achievements, but I do remember that there were some games where you could get some achievements and you would actually unlock things. You would unlock like background wallpapers for your console or costumes for your avatar, stuff like that. And that made that stuff a lot more exciting. The only thing that actually comes to mind right now is in the Xbox arcade versions of Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, if you do the stop and swap secrets, you end up getting, I think, avatar clothes. Like, you get, like, a Banjo-Kazooie t-shirt for your avatar, or something like that. And stuff
that's neat.
And it's a lot more incentivizing, right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, it still falls under the category of bragging rights, but, like, it's something you can look to. And it's like, even if not real, you feel like you got something out of it, right? And
I progressed.
It pretty much, but I think actually the first time I remember thinking that, and now I'm of a different mindset now. You know, I am all for people who want to challenge themselves however they will. But there was an achievement in the first BioShock, and it was basically beat the game without dying, because it's beat the game without using one of the Vita chambers that revives you. And I thought, well, there's no way I'm getting all of these now. And I think it was at that point that I just checked out of even bothering with them, because I was like, why? So I can get it and it's done. And I had the same dilemma for when I completed the Pokedex. And this is when the Pokedex was at 726, I think was due. So I required multiple games. And it took me years, and I finally did it. And then it was just like, now what did this get me?
You caught them all. The song pertains to you now.
I caught M all until a few years later when it was no longer M all. And then they just stopped making it possible. Actually, you know what? Point of pride. I caught them all, I think, the last time you were actually able to.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It's not bad. So, it's not bad. But
I mean, gets you nothing. But bragging
it gets me nothing.
As you are doing now.
But, yeah. Oh, no. I'm bringing it into reality, but that would be like my kind of like first crossing path with achievements. What about you? Do you kind of remember where you first realized they were a thing?
Not really, to be honest. I never really paid attention to them. I always like, out of the games that I ended up playing, it's like, okay, cool. But like, I was big into Team Fortress 2 and those kind of games, right? Counter-Strike, Battlefield, which at the time Battlefield didn't have any. But like Team Fortress 2 had so many achievements that it's ridiculous. Like over 200. You know what? I'm actually tempted to find out how many they have right now. Because there's a point when it just becomes way too much. Right?
You know, it's funny, I was actually just about to open up my Steam to see, because there is one game on Steam that I know I have 100%ed, and I want to say there was like 12 achievements in it, but I forgot my password, so I can't log into Steam right now.
Alright, you ready for this?
Yeah.
So Team Fortress 2 has 520 achievements.
Yeah. Good Lord.
And because I was such into the PC market and always using Steam and whatnot, you often see like most of the games had like really ridiculous ones or achievements for almost like a feat of strength.
Yep,
because you were there at the time.
Skill checks.
Well, not just skill checks. They had skill checks, which is what achievements should be for. But ones that you wouldn't be able to achieve anymore.
Oh, like attend such like, in-game event, or
attend Christmas 2020.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I can't do that now.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no way that you could get those achievements. So I didn't care. But on the sense of completion of games, like I was completing games back on NES, right? And Super Nintendo. Like the ones that have really come to mind right now off the top of my head is the Donkey Kong games. Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3.
That's
where their percentage was 101, 102, 103.
That's the original platinum right there.
Right?
Yeah.
And Donkey Kong 64, which I have 100%ed as a kid, which is almost shutterable now. Like
you don't
I
want
should
to
be
do
locked
that,
in the basement.
Yeah, that's not a good time.
If you know, you know. If you don't, well, don't learn.
Don't find out. Yeah.
But with that said, like that's not to say that I don't have games on Steam that I haven't 100%ed. Once upon a time, I did have Fallout 4 100%ed.
Till they took it away.
Till they put DLCs. Till they took it away. And that was also another turning point. Because like, oh, maybe I will start 100%ing these games. And then just realizing that they can take it away. Which is something that PlayStation, it's really nice that they do. I can't speak for Xbox. But DLCs, if they add achievements, they are under its own thing.
That is considerate.
So it is very considerate. Like if I go Bloodborne, they have the old Hunters DLC, but say I don't have the old Hunters DLC, but I want a 100% Bloodborne, I still can. I don't need to go buy the DLC because it's under its own achievement list.
Yeah.
On Steam, currently anyways, I have Axiom Verge, Battle Block Theater, Pony Island, Evoland, 100%ed. And the last one, which is kind of a weird one, Hot Lava.
Like a forest lava kind of thing?
Absolutely. It actually is. And it was, I don't know if it was developed and published by Clay, but it was at least published by Clay.
I always thought it was a Gary's Mod thing. Or maybe it's just someone did a Flores Lava with Gary's Mod.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so someone actually made a game out of it. It was a lot of fun, that one. Aside from a few of them which were asinine to actually get. But it was also co-op, so I did it with friends. There was some spots in there that we just took hours in a night just trying to get this one little stupid thing. And we just couldn't. But we kept trying. Like Battle Block Theater, that is definitely a bit of a skill check for platforming. Axiom Verge, not so much. It's just more like Metroidvania, kind of 100%, which is a whole other scenario. So, like, back in the day, we had like unlockables. We had like sometimes secret endings. We had like the Donkey Kong style, where it's like 101, 102, 103, and whatever Donkey Kong 64 was. I don't remember now. Banana Bird something. We also have the achievements and then getting taken away. Metroidvanias are one of those weird little genres that take the completionist to a bit of a different level. For the most part, anyways. Not all Metroidvanias, but a good chunk of them. Such as like Blasphemous or the Castlevania games, where when you are doing a 100% run or a completionist run, you start getting different endings, or that is the true ending.
Now,
that's a whole other thing in itself, right?
Like, I'm not the type to go hunting a platinum by any means. To say I'm not a completionist, like, admittedly, I'm not for the most part, but if I'm getting something out of it, then yeah, by all means, I'm much more inclined to 100% a game. And now,
absolutely,
it's also a little gray because 100% completion in, let's say, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, they just want you to see the entire map. It doesn't mean get every item, kill every enemy, get every soul. Oh dear God, that would be dreadful.
God, that would take forever.
Yeah, so in that sense, like, I consider
but it still
complete.
works. There's a criteria that you need to meet at 100% to achieve something.
Yeah, and in that sense, I am all for seeing as much of the game that I possibly can. Now, when it comes to a lot of completion, or at least platinum criteria, as you're well aware by now, requires multiple playthroughs. And I have too many games for multiple playthroughs. Although I do still stand true that I'm pretty sure the first game I intend to platinum on my PS5 is probably going to be Lies of P. That one, I'll play through that any day.
Yeah, you absolutely love that game.
I do. But I think actually the only thing I have on Steam, and they've probably taken this one away by now for all 100% achievements, was the first Risk of Rain. And that is not a very big game. And I wouldn't be surprised if, they've updated it and it's got more by now. So, but what I do
that wouldn't be surprising.
Is I like it when games have built-in achievements. Those I'm significantly more inclined to do. And maybe this is just because it's that whole like Nintendo diehard side of me where like, I like that they don't have achievements attached to your account. But let's say a game that I played earlier this year, Gravity Circuit, incredible game, super awesome Mega Man clone. It has its own built-in achievements, and they are things that you don't have to do, but are just basically skill checks, right? Like juggle an enemy 20 times or something like that. And for whatever reason, even if they get me nothing but just saying that I did it, I am way more inclined to do those than I am if the console says I did it. I don't know why.
I don't care about bragging rights. I just like the pop-up.
Well, and
I don't want people knowing that I did this awesome thing. I just want to know it.
The pop-up is an incredibly satisfying part of the achievement formula that I do think, like, even...
it's a dopamine hit.
Earlier today, playing playing Dead Rising, and I probably got like 3 or 4 achievements just for doing it. And I love the achievements you get for doing dumb shit. Those are when I can really appreciate the achievements. And actually, I think my most memorable achievement that I ever acquired, and I didn't look it up, and if you're going for completion, sure, but I think achievements are a lot more fun when you stumble across them. It was, I was playing Red Dead Redemption, and I found out, you can hog tie people and drag them behind you in the horse and whatnot, and I thought, wait a minute. So I found a lady in town, and I took her and I left her tied up on the train tracks, and I waited for a train to come, and it did, and I got a little achievement, and it was called Dastardly, and it was just like a picture of a top hat, a monocle, and a mustache. I'm like, okay, that's brilliant. So
to kind of coincide with that story, one that caught me, it probably shouldn't have caught me off guard, but I guess it's because I didn't know that this could actually happen. Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yep.
Now, if I haven't said it before, I'll say it right now. I am terrible at aiming on console. I just can't. I'm a mouse and keyboard aimer. So I'm there aiming at Mr. X, trying to shoot him in the head, trying to slow him down so I can actually get out of the freaking library. And I shoot his hat off, and I got an achievement saying "hats off."
See, I like quirky little things like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Those achievements, things that actually are a bit of a skill check, are nice. Multiplayer ones can just go fuck themselves. Fuck that. The ones that you get for like completing a chapter, they're fine. But okay, so I think the best example or best explanation of the kind of things that we're talking about here that are worthwhile actually getting that just kind of pop up. So again, I'm going to bring up PlayStation just because that's the console. That and Switch are the ones I know. I don't know anything about Xbox nowadays. PlayStation, when you get a trophy, you can set it up so it records a video of like 20 seconds before, 10 seconds after.
I do think that's a cool feature.
It is great, and maybe Xbox does it too. I don't know. But it's those ones. If I get the achievement and it's me going through a menu, no, that's not an achievement.
Yeah.
If it's in a cutscene, no, that's not an achievement. Although I do appreciate those because, again, with Silent Hill 2, I've been watching a buddy play it. And those times that I didn't get to watch him, I could actually kind of take note of where he was and kind of know what he was experiencing, so I didn't spoil anything for him. So it was helpful in that sense. But that's neither here or there. But the achievements that when you watch the video, again, referring to PlayStation, when you watch that video and be like, oh yeah, that happened, didn't it? And you're just kind of laughing about it afterwards, those are the ones that I give a shit about. Those are fun.
or the achievements you get for doing something incredibly skillful.
Yeah.
Like, one thing that I can appreciate, especially as someone, and you'll be very well aware of this, as someone who enjoys Souls games, when you finally get that super clutch win on a boss, if you get an achievement and it gets you the clip. Like, what was it you were saying? I think it was in Lies of P, it was the Puppet King, where...
Yep.
Yeah, it recorded your last fight, and that was like a super tense, like, tight finish, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so in those aspects, I think it's very appreciated. When I get that, congratulations, you got past the prologue. No, I don't. What did I achieve?
Yeah.
I got an hour in.
I'm actually very curious if publishers and developers use that, like the chapter list as achievements to kind of gauge on where their fan base is playing in the game, because you usually have a percentage of people who own the game, how far they've actually made it, or how many people have achieved this.
So I was actually going to mention this too. So here's my wacky conspiracy theory about achievements, is that achievements have nothing to do with you. You don't matter. It's all just survey data for game devs, and if they put in things that are so ridiculously achievable, they tweak it, or if they get things everyone's able to do, then they can make it more difficult. It's all just data information, and then they're going to sell it to brokers. Unless you get ExpressVPN. Sorry, the link today. Sorry, we don't actually have a sponsor.
What the hell was that?
It's called
achievement get.
It's called a conspiracy theory.
I mean, it entirely is possible. Maybe that's why there's a bunch of really weird ones.
Data collection and identity theft has never been more fun.
Now, at the same time, there are ones that pertain to like endings. So again, just because it's recent, it's on my mind, and I just got it not that long ago, like the other day. Silent Hill 2 Platinum. I ended up getting that, and there's achievements for the different endings. And I think that's kind of useful for me, who is trying to get the platinum in something.
Well, very much so.
Okay, now I got to do this. Because like the different endings, I guess, at least in Silent Hill 2, it's not so much I make a choice at the end. I don't take red pill or blue pill. I got to play a certain way to actually achieve the ending.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it alters the entire playthrough.
The quote-unquote in-water ending, for example. I need to play 90% of that game or something in red health line.
Challenge run.
Not so much if you have a chainsaw.
But still, pretty much your only window is like at the start of the game where you are able to take that damage and then like, and get better ride with it.
Yep. And then after certain cutscenes, I'd be back at full health and it's like, I gotta find something to hit me.
Just gonna stand here for a while, don't mind me. I'm just, yep. Okay.
Thank you for headbutting me.
Yep.
So I mean, like, some of those, like, not so wacky achievements are good too to have. Just to, especially with, I think endings is viable. Multiplayer ones, I've already made my opinion clear on that. The wacky ones like Hats Off or you leaving someone on a train track.
Yep.
Because you're dastardly.
Dastardly. Yeah. No, I thought that was like, they get the joke. Really it makes me sound sick if I didn't get an achievement. Oh God.
I mean, you are, but that's neither here or there.
It's neither here nor there.
Okay, so you were talking about in-game achievements.
So I think
I don't know if I've talked about this story on the podcast or not. I'm pretty sure I've told it. Anyways, Hollow Knight.
Oh yes, I know this one.
So I have multiple copies of Hollow Knight. I have on Steam. I have on Switch, and it was one of the monthly games on PS Plus a while ago. And they have in-game achievements on the Switch version, and they might on the other ones too. They have Steam achievements, and they have PlayStation trophies. So I'm going through the in-game achievement list, and it's like, okay, these are actually pretty obtainable. This actually, I really enjoy Hollow Knight. I've never done the Steel Soul run, all this kind of stuff. So it's like, I'm going to do this one achievement. And I think it was complete Steel Soul mode in 3 hours or something. So it's like, okay, because I can do this on PlayStation, I'm going to get the platinum for it. But I was looking at the in-game achievements on Switch. Went to the PlayStation version. Beat it again in the 3 hours on Steel Soul mode because I had to beat it the first time to unlock it. Didn't get the trophy. I'm like, I could have sworn. Yeah, my playtime's less. What's going on? And I go through the trophy list. It wasn't a trophy.
Put in all the work for nothing.
It wasn't even an in-game achievement on the PlayStation, but it was on Switch.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh no. Why did I do this?
See, you know what? This is the thing I like about in-game achievements, especially too. So this is kind of like a formula used before we got achievement systems for the most part, but there's such a nice charm to if you beat a game and complete a certain aspect to it. And the example that I'm going to use is the Mega Man Battle Network games. So you can get different emblems on your title screen depending on certain criteria that you meet. So you'll get a certain emblem just for beating the game. You'll get an emblem for filling out all your battleship folders and collecting them all. You'll get an emblem for beating all the super bosses. And I think that stuff is really cool, that it stays with the cartridge itself. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to wipe the save file, but all the same.
Yeah.
Start a new game, you don't even have to worry about that, but every time you boot it up, you can go, yeah, I did that.
I think it would be cool for like more in-game stuff. Like even if it's a platinum on PlayStation or Steam or Xbox or whatever, why don't we see too much of it actually being in-game stuff?
Right? No, I like
it
much more when...
I mean, I know some games it's because they can sell cosmetics and whatnot, but that used to be the things that we used to get. Is cosmetics or in-game cheats, and like in-game cheats are a thing of the past.
Yeah, I like it when games have a nice throwback, kind of like old school cheat system in them. Like you'll find stuff like Retro City Ransom, or not Retro City Ransom, Retro City Rampage, things like that. You know, the things that are very much harkening on the nostalgia of what they're replicating. They will use those old school cheats. I think there's even been a couple like boomer shooter style games that have come out. They've implemented like big head mode and whatnot. So, and they are merely an homage to relics of the past at this point. They aren't
absolutely
nearly as fun, but you just give me like a star on my save file or something. Fuck.
Yeah, no, don't see a whole lot of that now.
You know what I always thought the gamer score was, and it would be so cool if they implemented this in some way, shape, or form, is if gamer score ended up becoming like currency. And, you know, you can't acquire it with microtransactions. It's solely, you know, because Gamerscore used to give you points, right? You'd get an achievement and you'd be like, you know, 10 Gamerscore, 1 Gamerscore, 100. Usually, like, when you beat a game, you get like 100. And I think it would add to it, and that was your metric of how much of a gamer you are and how much Mountain Dew you drink. But it'd be cool if, like, you know, if you beat, let's say, 3 games worth of stuff, you can go almost kind of like how the Nintendo Switch Online does the emblems that you can purchase with their platinum points.
Right.
If there was something like that, I would love if I could just buy, like, you know, new emblems for my PlayStation account or something stupid like that.
Background themes, avatars, whatever. Just
you know,
something that I could. Okay, so Ubisoft with Uplay, their own PC launcher.
Yep.
Had that.
Oh, I don't want to give them credit, though.
No. Now, this was like you could download wallpapers for your desktop.
Riveting. Absolutely riveting.
Yeah. So, things like that. I mean, desktop wallpaper, okay. It's on PC. They don't, I don't think Uplay is part of consoles.
No,
because Uplay on PC, anyways, is a separate launcher.
They're not going to beat my backgrounds right now, though. So
no, absolutely not.
And I have so much freedom of choice. Like right now on my left screen, I have the Strange Journey box art, and on my right screen, I have the fucking Tree of Mana. You know, I got it for free too.
Right?
It's kind of like, wow, Mom, thanks for the socks for Christmas, except I love it when I get socks for Christmas.
Oh, I got 9 platinums on PlayStation.
I have
I've already said my Steam ones.
None at all.
Well, obviously, like Silent Hill 2 remake, which I just talked about. Visions of Mana actually 100%ed.
Yeah.
Stellar Blade was a fun one.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And actually, to get the platinum, you don't have to 100% it, because part of your percentage is in New Game Plus only.
Huh.
So they actually made it so you don't have to do New Game Plus, which was a nice touch.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that I have 71% progress on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, just because of how large that game is. Sea of Stars.
Yep.
Dark Souls 3. Blasphemous. Elden Ring.
See,
and
I
Sekiro.
Figure, you know, if Sea of Stars, that's platinumable. If only Chrono Trigger had it, I would have a platinum on Chrono Trigger at this point. If that was a thing.
I think so, yeah. Although, I don't know if I'd be able to... Yeah.
It does have a lot going for it. You know what I'm actually surprised that I haven't gone for? Although, some of it's, like... Because a lot of the Mega Man games in the Legacy collections, more so the collections, they all have, like, built-in achievement structures. They are all absurd.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about, like, when they make Mega Man games, they usually just make them for Mega Man fans now, and we're all very in on the fact that these games are already hard as fuck, so if they want to make them more challenging, like, holy shit, have you even tried the X challenges on the X collection? You think, yeah, fighting 2 bosses at once, that can't be that bad. It's nuts!
Oh, that would be horrible.
And then they're like, do it on hard mode. And also in a certain time frame. And like, oh my god. You know, you would think Mega Man, my favorite shit in the world, surely a platinum that. No, fuck no. Like,
no, that would be difficult. And like, okay, so obviously for me to go about completion or platinum or 100%ing or whatever you want to call it, I need to be enjoying the game enough.
that is a big part of it, yes.
And there's different factors that can kind of go into it. And one really fun factor that happened with me was you recommended Axiom Verge. And I want to say I downloaded a physical. I downloaded a physical. I downloaded a digital copy of it.
Did you download a car?
I wish I could download a car. Yeah, Axiom Verge, and I beat it. And I wasn't done with it. I wanted to play more. And then I just happened to go onto speedrun.com and looked up a speedrun of it. And it's like, wow, that's insane. And I've never attempted speedrunning before. So I ended up getting it for PC as well. I went through the game normally and 100%ed it. Because I didn't know if I wanted to speedrun it or not at the time. And then I started speedrunning it. Because I just wasn't ready to hang up the gloves on something.
Yeah.
Right? So that was like an overachievement, if you will.
Honestly, though, like, I can see it in the... Because I don't go out of my way for them. I would see it more so for myself, being if I played a game so much, and because I will check the achievements just for giggles, right? And if I only had, like, 5 out of 50 left by chance, I might actually be like, you know what? Maybe I'll consider it, pending how much of a time investment they're going to be. So, what was it? When I beat SMT 5 Vengeance earlier this year, I want to say I ended that game with, I don't know, probably like 65% of the achievements. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll look into it. And it's just like, oh yeah, that's like 4 playthroughs away. Never mind.
Yeah.
So,
like, Silent Hill 2 was a lot of endings.
Yeah.
Because, would you say ending names are a giveaway?
I would think that you'd be better off with like ending A to ending J.
Okay. So there's 3 original endings, or not original, 3 main endings that you can get on a normal game. And then there's a total of 8 endings. You don't need all 8 for the trophy, though, because 2 of them were added in. So there's 6 true endings from the original, and you had to do all 6 to get the platinum. Now, at the same time, if I'm completing the game in less than 3 hours,
that's another big factor, right? Like, if it's something you can essentially do in a session, as where how much time did I sink into SMT5? I think Vengeance was shorter than the original. It was still like 50 plus hours.
Yeah.
You know, that's a turn-based RPG. It's not going to be short. And yeah, I could probably rip through it in New Game Plus in like 20, but that's still like 20 hours into
that's a good
game.
Investment of time.
To play again, no less. Yeah. That's a bit of a big ask. So
most of the games that I've platinumed, I haven't had a desire to go back. Just usually because the time I'm done with them, I'm done.
Oh yeah, these games aren't going to play themselves.
Yeah. Like, the only one that I will say that I do have temptation to go back to is Sekiro.
I can see you. I'm actually kind of surprised you haven't gotten the platinum for Sekiro.
I do.
Oh.
I have it.
Oh.
So that was one that was a real pain in the ass. It took me a long time to actually get. And I think I was on New Game Plus 7 or 8.
Oh, jeez.
Just because the cost of upgrading my equipment was so high.
Honestly, though,
I spent a lot of time farming for Sen or whatever the currency was, so I could get these last upgrades. And my platinum is just me in a menu.
I will say that if there is a game that myself could, like, I don't know about platinuming, but when it comes to the ease of doing another playthrough, God, it's the Souls games. Jeez.
I mean, Souls games, once you get it, you just fly through them.
Oh, and they're built for another. Like, you get to the end and you're like, all right, let's start up again.
Yep.
Yep.
No, it's one of those things. So, like, what is it for you that makes you want to 100% a game? Not that you don't have any platinum trophies or anything, but what would make you go for a platinum trophy?
Admittedly, it's almost like, as dumb as it sounds, it's like getting a trophy for something that I am so fond of. As I've mentioned, my first platinum I intend to is Lies of P, just because I like that game so damn much. But beyond that, I really don't have a whole lot of incentive. Now, that said, the difference between, getting a platinum in a game versus completing a game, when it comes to the game's own criteria, I am much more inclined, because I feel like I'm getting more out of it, because I'm almost getting more content from the game itself.
Yes.
As where it doesn't feel like something on the side of it, you know?
Yeah, and that a lot of that comes down to like what the developer actually puts in, or the publisher, even, as the actual achievements.
Yeah, give me something as a player to enjoy. Don't give me something to remark on. Like, I gotta look at it. It's just like, got 20 headshots. I'm like, cool, I got 20 headshots. But, it's not replicating the satisfaction of doing those headshots. It's a weird analogy for me to make as someone who's not really much of a shooter, but it's probably because I was shooting zombies earlier.
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm gonna say it again. Silent Hill 2. The ones that I had left at the end were just endings.
Yep.
Which, I mean, honestly is fine, because that is a bit more content. It's stuff I haven't seen, or don't know how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
In the remake, anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's stuff you're getting along the way anyway, right? So that's a little different, because it's not just checking off a checklist. You are at least getting more of an experience out of it, right?
Yes. And honestly, if anything, if it didn't have those trophies, because I saw a lot more endings than I ever have in the original.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that comes down to those, because I was dedicated to getting that platinum, it also meant I had to see more endings. And I think that was a kind of neat incentive for me to actually continue on, because I was dedicated to do it.
It does have its pros. It does have its cons. I mean, like I said at the start, I'm not against it. I'm just not that type.
It's not your cup of tea.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, for me, what I find is, like, when I finish the game, I have no problem going through the achievement list if it has some. If it's on Switch, I just don't. No point. But I'll go through the achievement list. I'll see if it's easy enough or things that I feel okay to do. But a lot of the deciding factor on that is, am I ready to hang up the gloves on this yet? Like, that was really good. Look at Axiom Verge. I was not ready to give up, but I didn't just want to do a playthrough.
Yeah.
So, Silent Hill 2. I didn't want to put it down. I really enjoyed my time. What can another playthrough? Well, let's look at the trophy list and see what's there.
I also keep burning myself on achievements.
Yeah.
like for example, shortly after beating Lies of P for the first time, and I'm thinking, you know what, I know that I'm gonna want to play more of this game, but I'll try to knock off one of the achievements because I'm gonna go for that platinum. We'll get another ending. So I played the game too fast, and I ended up getting the exact same ending again. And it's just like, this is stupid. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing that I have fought a boss that you have not.
And I did it twice. Like, come on.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's actually pretty funny.
Yep. Oh well, I'll get it one day.
Some very rare, but some trophies actually kind of lead the way to a secret ending. One game in particular that I'm just thinking about is like Pony Island. Like, you had to have all but the last achievement, and you unlocked a secret ending because of it. And then that was the last achievement, was getting that ending.
I guess that would make sense. It's sort of a natural progression.
Yep. So, now granted, Pony Island is freaking weird, but
it's a very meta game.
Sorry?
It's a very meta game, you know, it's like...
Very much so. Like, same with, like, Inscription and the Hex. All of Daniel's games.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of understandable. Battle Block Theater, when I did that, it was just good fun.
You know, it's actually funny. I was thinking, I haven't checked it yet, but I was going to check the achievement list for Dead Rising, and the original Dead Rising had an achievement, and it was kill a ludicrous amount of zombies. It was something around, you know, just shy of 60,000 or something. But the number was very specific. And the number was very specific because it was referring to the Holocaust. So I'm wondering if that's still in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
wondering if there's a good amount of achievements that have aged rather poorly.
Oh, probably. But,
just look at the Deadpool game. I'm sure it's got lots. I can't speak to that. I don't know anything about the Deadpool game, but it definitely came around a bit.
Yeah, it really depends on who made it.
Probably the Family Guy game.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, there's another point I was going to make, and it just slipped my mind.
Gee, I wonder why.
I did not complete the brain.
Tragedy will do that.
Yeah, no, it's just a big portion of what makes me want to actually get a platinum is I am not ready to put the game down. I'm not ready to give up this fun.
Yep.
So, and yeah, like,
since you're there,
might as well do it. Like the Blasphemous 1 platinum was a lot of fun to get. Took a few playthroughs, but a lot of fun to get.
That's one that
Silent Hill 2 remake was a lot of fun to get. Started getting a little old by the end.
I don't know if I would go for platinum with Blasphemous, but I do know I'm trying to play it through on all of its modes.
Right.
Which I would imagine if it was on PlayStation, that would be one of its criteria. But no, that's weird.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. Castlevania mode was a good time, though.
Oh, I know what I was going to bring up. In the... how do I bring this up? Fuck it. In the emulation world.
Ah, yes.
There's a lot of emulators support achievements for retro games now. And there's a whole database that you can sign up and link your account to start tracking achievements. I think it's just called Retro Achievements, to be honest.
Honestly, that I would be on board for.
It is kind of neat, and
yeah.
I know I got a few set up for myself because I did Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. I did Silent Hill 1.
I'm so contradictory. I don't want achievements, or I don't care for achievements in the games that have them. But the games that don't, yeah, I'd do achievements. That'd be cool.
Well, in all fairness, it's very much like fan created achievements. So chances are they aren't going to be completely stupid.
Or more stupid.
This is absolutely a possibility. Oh yeah, Kingsfield. Kingsfield 1. I got some achievements for.
Oh dear God.
Right?
You deserve achievements for even trying that game.
The fact that I beat that still throws me for a loop.
It's just Dark Souls, but on DOS. It's not.
Oh God, yeah. So I'm just looking at the games I played and my progress on it. So like, some people have made an abundance of achievements. That why? So Kingsfield 2, which I never finished, 177 achievements. Why? Kingsfield 1 had 105.
That's a lot. I like it keep it in like the 50 range.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night, 106.
Oh my God.
Silent Hill 1, 66.
That's just people getting carried away with putting them in there.
Yeah. Yeah, defeat Dracula in the prologue, so these have the standard chapter ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, defeat bosses.
Does it have one for sitting in so many chairs?
Oh God, I don't know.
I would hope so.
You know what? I'm going to have to use a find feature.
Because, I mean, that's kind of like
Very
a
curiosity. Did she really see any cracks there?
What?
No. Yeah, that's just one of the achievements.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah. So some are good, some are bad. I've used them for the PlayStation. Because that's usually what I'm emulating. Just because I don't have anything. Well, I do, but it's annoying to get a PlayStation 1 without being fully modded to play on a 1080 or 4K TV. So I usually emulate the PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of
having a trophies is just kind of neat.
Some old games with like games that I would want to have achievements for like, so for example, something like Uniracers. That's a game that deserves achievements. It's hard enough as it is. I keep bringing it up on this podcast. More people should know what Uniracers is.
That was on Super Nintendo, right?
And Sega, but
you're referring to the Super Nintendo one, though, right?
I sure am.
All right.
Yeah,
because you know exactly what I'm doing now. I'm looking up Uniracers.
It's funny because I like it when these retro compilations, much like I mentioned with the X Legacy collections. How many?
24.
That's a fair amount. The only problem is actually getting them because that game is hard as fuck.
Get at least bronze on all stages. Get at least silver on all stages. Get gold on Crawler. Get gold on blah, 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 blah. It's a lot of them.
So it's funny because like they made achievements for stuff you'd be doing in the game anyway, because every time you do get a medal on those races, like when you look at the title of the race, it'll show you that you got a bronze medal or so on and so forth. Yeah. God.
Get your first flip city. Get your first roll city.
Oh, so good. So good. Well, what do you think, dude? Do we got any more to add to this here topic of achievements? Any final thoughts?
Not so much. If you're a trophy hunter, tell us why you do it.
Hunt away. What have you hunted
and hunt away?
Why? Yeah.
Like why do you trophy hunt? For me, I'm not ready to put the game down. For Tyler, he just doesn't.
I just happen to get them sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
No, it's a good. You get the odd one that's like, oh, I got to do that.
But there's things I want to do anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Ideally, you'd come across it by accident. Hats off, Mr. X.
Yep.
But yeah, that's about all I got. You got anything else?
No, I think we're ready to close this one out. We might have to get ready for the next one. I don't know.
Yeah. So the next one we have teased big 5-0 since almost the first episode.
Would you say that getting to episode 50 is an achievement?
I would.
Oh.
I absolutely would. 50 episodes.
Yep.
People listen to us. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But thank you to each and every one of you for being
3 more years. 2 more years.
for joining us on this platinum twist.
Yeah.
But yeah. Steam's out. It's 2:45 when we're recording. So we're gonna take off. Thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you next time. Be sure to catch us on Twitter, possibly BlueSky here soon, and Instagram. We don't post often, but we post sometimes. At
We're
Optional
listening.
Boss PC. We're always listening. We will see you next time.
Bye!